Welcome to the Brisbane Small Business Show. Marg has just found out the chaos with which we live and how we roll here, which is really, really interesting. I've got with me Marg Aspin. Marg is a serial entrepreneur. She's a lovely, lovely lady. Got a finger in so many pies. It's not funny. Must have very messy fingers there, Marg.
Yeah, they do get very messy, and they've been pretty messy lately, haven't they, Kevin?
They have. I know that you're always run off your feet in 100 different directions. And we were just talking about your the Co.STARTERS program. And
yes.
I think that people starting out, and even people who are in business, that are either trying to get something to work or they're looking for a slightly different shift. I know people use the term pivot.
Yeah, it's got bad connotations. It's got bad connotations, but it's true. It is true. It's just a diversion, away, off into another direction. A new thought.
It's just another word, and I've got to get over it, really, haven't I? Like so many other things in my life. So people who are thinking about and who might want to be looking at either starting out their own thing or really getting onto the launch pad.
Yeah.
We were talking about who could something like startup be for? But, really, there's been lots of different types of ways of people getting businesses happening. And here's just a really organised way that helps people get structured around that, yeah?
Yeah, the thing is, when somebody starts a business, sometimes it's just a really great idea, and you can have thousands of great ideas. There's no doubt about that. And other people recognise them as really being great ideas. But if you want supporters, whether that be government grants or investors or banks or whatever you want, you've got to convince them that you know what you're doing, and they have to feel really confident in your capabilities of doing it yourself or finding another person who will come into the business to do it for you. And they also need to feel that it's feasible, not just market feasible, but they also need to feel that it's operationally feasible.
Marg, we've jumped right into the detail and we're not ready for that. We'll come back to detail in a minute. It's light, bright and easy at the moment, trying to help people understand, is this for me? That's the really important thing.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
The three main reasons that we were discussing that people will even start something is one, economic need, right? They've, as you're saying, it could be someone in their 50s that's struggling to find work. Yeah. It could be someone who's under 24 that's struggling to find work.
Yeah, underemployment. Globalisation, people who don't quite feel that they fit the traditional workplace, and so a lot of creatives. I've got a musical background as well as an IT background, and creatives don't necessarily fit a typical workplace because they're incredibly creative.
Now, for all of the time I've known you, I didn't know you had a musical background as well. So tell me a bit more about that.
Oh, well, I studied drama and everything else first off years and years and years ago in South Australia, and then moved into quite a lot of different sorts of fields, including edutech and management, and I even, lecture in entrepreneurship now. So, you kind of, when you start your career, you kind of often start off trying to get as broad as you possibly can, and then round about 40 or whatever, you want to start narrowing it down. So there are a whole lot of people who are over 40 who start thinking about, well, you know what, I've got a good idea. It's been sort of simmering away there, and maybe I'd like to get started on this idea, but they're not quite certain how to go about that in a very, very simple, structured way. And so having that opportunity to do it, it just fast tracks people and it works out. Is it going to be for them? Yeah.
There's a really cool book that talks all about exactly what you just said. It's called Range by David Epstein. That's why I was trying to drag my phone and not looking at the screen. And it talks about in a modern business world, more often than not, like it's not like a game of chess where you've got predefined moves and structures and all that sort of stuff. The rules keep changing. Yeah. And even people that play golf, like it's only you and the course, you and the elements. So it's a fixed environment, but business is not a fixed environment. It's an ever-changing world. And he said it's kind of like playing Martian tennis. Okay. And I think I really like the analogy there. So it really is. Roger Federer didn't start playing tennis until he was about 15. And his mum was actually a coach, but she really wasn't taking much interest in, because he just wanted to do trick shots and all that sort of stuff and play about. She wasn't even there when he won his very first tournament, because she was out the back having a drink with the girls, not thinking that his son had much ability in this particular thing, because he was awesome at ball sports, but never really showed that much interest in serious tennis.
Yeah.
He ended up being okay.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And I've certainly met a heck of a lot of entrepreneurs. And by entrepreneur, I just mean a founder, rather than somebody who buys an established business. So you're taking on all their policies and procedures and doodah. You're actually founding something. And so you deserve a really fancy title, Kevin. That's why you're an entrepreneur. Be proud of it. Be proud of entrepreneurship.
I was happy enough with founder, founder. Eventually I found out my way. It's one of those things. It really is. Yeah. So look, I am an entrepreneur. I'm proud of it. In fact, I'm even a tech entrepreneur, which, I find really funny, but we'll get to that another in 60 seconds. So, Marg, you have a really diverse background in education, in entrepreneurship, in starting up businesses. You've had a number of very successful businesses. You've done RTOs, and if anyone can manage RTOs, they're doing okay. And then you got involved with these co-starters mob that help put a structure around helping people set themselves up for success.
Yeah, and I think it's because in these stages, I also do some small business mentoring for the government and run some things, and you're sort of catching people when the gaps have become obvious to that person. It's like when you first get going, you don't know what you don't know, and that's nothing about your intelligence or life or whatever. It really is a case of you're so incredibly excited, you think, how hard could it be, and you get going. And then after a while, the wheels start to wobble a bit and maybe one falls off. And it's at that point we seem to be, catching people and mentoring people, and then later on maybe coaching them. Then maybe they get an advisory board and so on and so forth. But it can be a really, really tricky sort of stage at the beginning when your passion's really strong, but maybe you can't really see how to go about it in a logical way. And so when I came across co-starters and my colleagues,
if I can just interrupt, it's kind of like being a teenager again, right? Because you're so full of passion and you know everything.
You're in love.
And as you get older, you realise all the stuff that you didn't know, and all of a sudden you start doubting everything, right? So
that's right. You're in love. You're in love. You're in deep love. Yes, and we all remember that one. So after a while, you start thinking, do you know what? I actually don't know everything that I really want to know at this point in time. So you might actually take up something formalised at that point.
Absolutely.
I like co-starters because it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is, what interests you. You can come in and over a period of time. At the moment, obviously, it's sort of one-on-one process rather than groups and coming together. But just to be able to work with someone who's been a serial entrepreneur, who's been an entrepreneur, started things, understands the founder's mindset, what works and what works against you, and can work with you as a whole person and your whole idea, and help you really start with the end in mind. So I looked at it as an international program and thought, that's actually, I really wish that was around when I was starting.
So, and you and I, before we come on, we were talking about there's really almost a 5-step process without going into the detail of what's in the program itself, because the detail of what you do is less important than where it's going to take you. Yeah,
that's right. And being able to convince others within a short period of time is not really something that you tend to have to do. To be able to get an idea and then take it to a point where you can convince others about the idea, just to be able to get to there in such a short period of time is like magic. Otherwise you might be faffing around with that for like 2 or 3 years and not actually getting anywhere with it. So to start with that is a lot easier.
It's not even that. If I can just go back, it's because you're so involved in it and so passionate about it that you kind of just blur everything.
Yeah.
And you confuse your audience. Whereas the simplest message was the best.
Absolutely. And it's, trying to work out, is it a feasible idea? Is it operationally feasible? Are you the right person to do this? So it's understanding yourself as well, what your strengths are. And then being able to get that and hone that right down into a little pitch, what we call a pitch. Pitch is really just a few slides, actually. It sounds fancy, but it's
So
just
what
the ability to bring it down
you
into a little tight thing. Yeah.
So you are actually giving us a 5-step process without realizing you're giving us a 5-step process. The first one is to work out the true commercial feasibility of the thing.
Yeah.
And you help people understand, is this a commercially viable concept or idea? That's step one. Step two, it's about competency and working out, am I the person who can take this to market, or do I need support in some way, shape or form? Do I even need somebody else to lead it, as I'm not the right person? And you look at people like Steve Wozniak, he did okay by not being the person in charge. Just saying, right?
Well, even Virgin, when you have a look at just the way in which the people are empowered to run things themselves.
Although I don't want to talk about Virgin right now. That's not a really great experience right this minute. I'm a bit grumpy with our state government being prepared to put $200 million into Virgin and nothing into small business. There's more jobs in small business if they spent $200 million there. Just saying.
Yeah.
I'm very strong on that particular belief. They could save a lot of unemployment investing $200 million in small business. But we might differ in opinion there. That's just where I'm going. I just want small business back on the state government's agenda. So we had competency. The next one was about the credibility of the person.
Yeah. I'm an advisor on advisory boards as well, and you're constantly having people who are very, very passionate, trying to get across their message, and you are sitting back there in judgment. You're thinking, how credible is this person? How much can I trust this person? What they know, their personality, all of those sorts of things. And if you're after any money from anybody, and a bank manager as well, they're thinking the same thing. We're small business people, and so therefore others are going to judge us. And so we want to really put our best foot forward.
And that's it. And that's part of what you're doing, is really helping them understand, yes, this is a feasible product. Two, either I have the competency, or helping me find the people who have the competency to take this into market. Three, building that trust and credibility through organizing your thoughts and your business idea in a way that others will understand easily and effortlessly, so that as they're looking to you for that credibility, you're fully delivering that.
Yeah, that's right. Because the other thing too about Co-Starters that I did like is that the Co-Stars were community, and so it's a community of starters, which means that the power of the networks is very strong. So if I'm working with someone, clearly I want to get them networked with people who are going to provide them with a grant or money or something else that is going to assist them and make it a lot better and smoother and easier for them. And so part of my role now at this stage in my career, if you like, is to be that connector. So you see yourself as part of the ecosystem that is providing a whole lot of connections and things. And that's what you're doing, Kevin. You're making all these magnificent connections for people out there as well. So it's very lonely being there as a small business person, whether it be at the very, very beginning, just, getting into it, or you've got a new fancy idea, but you just don't know whether the engine you're running at the moment is going to be the right one to carry that new idea and make that one really strong. You just need to be really well connected with all the right people and have people who know who you should talk to and who are going to support you along the way. So that was the other reason why I was very, I looked at it and I thought, no, that there's not really exactly this here in Australia at the moment. I saw it working in the States and also in New Zealand. And I thought this would be a really good thing for us in Queensland.
Absolutely. No, I'm a big fan of what you're doing. I think, I know your passion for small business owners and helping small business owners. I see that shining through in everything that you do. Absolutely love it. I do love the fact that you've got a structured process to help people save a truckload of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This will really accelerate. Hey, if you work out that the idea you're working on is not feasible,
You just saved yourself a whole lot of heartache.
That is an absolute lifesaver. And it could be, hey, it's not feasible as it is, but have you thought about blah? And with that, all of a sudden, an idea that was a good idea, but not an economically viable one, can become that. So,
Kevin, you pivot the idea.
look, as I said, I've got to get over that word.
You pivot the idea. You take it off in a better direction. And so you're able to work with someone to do that and help you get to that point. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I fully agree with you here, Mark. I want to thank you very much for Co.STARTERS for that. You've actually got a little Co.STARTERS business plan I've seen once before.
Yeah, look, it's based on the business model canvas. You know, a lot of people use that. I mean, we use it when we're lecturing at university, business model canvas, but it's been a version of it, a Co.STARTERS version of it that is very suitable for people perhaps who haven't been in business before and who may be creative or maybe over 50s or may be all sorts of people, all kinds of people, and teens as well. So it's not kind of businessy jargony, but it's more life jargony.
So is it okay for us to share that with people who are interested in this? Great. So what we'll do is we'll this one-page PDF, we'll actually put it so that you can download it. We'll send Marg your details when you do so that she can follow you up and find out if you need any help. Does that sound like a good plan?
Sounds like a great plan.
Awesome. I really encourage you, even if you're not starting out, to grab this Co.STARTERS canvas. Marg called it. I called it business plan, whatever. It's a really, truly awesome document. And thanks very much for your time today, Marg.
My pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day, Kevin.
Thanks a lot. I'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.